God damn it, YouTube. I fucking hate Fallout New Vegas. Alright, so obviously I don't hate Fallout New Vegas, the game, but I'm really starting to turn on the community for Fallout New Vegas. These days, they're just like praising it like it's the ultimate game. You can't even talk about like other Fallouts without people like, you talk about Fallout 3, they're like, well, Fallout New Vegas was better. You talk about Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas was better. You talk about the story of either of those games, Fallout New Vegas' story was better, which is not fucking true. To be honest, Fallout New Vegas' story is really lackluster, especially compared to 3 or 4. They have actually, I think 3's story is pretty good. A lot of people hate on it. Fallout 4's story was obviously good in theory. It just didn't work for a Fallout game. New Vegas' story is just, I got shot in the head, let me find out why, platinum chip, big fight at the end of the game. That's the story for Fallout New Vegas. Of course, there's choices. You get to choose who, like, in what direction you want to take the story. It can be, you know, independent New Vegas. You can join Mr. House, NCR, Legion. In that regard, of course, New Vegas has a good story, but the actual, like, the core story of New Vegas is not really that interesting. Whereas with Fallout 3, you're kind of chasing down your dad across the wasteland, trying to figure out, pick up his trail, where is he at? He eventually sacrificed himself to save you and everybody else, and then you're trying to purify the water for the wasteland, which I think is a good story. That's the short version. Obviously, there's more to the story than that, but I think it's an actual decent story, whereas Fallout New Vegas is just kind of like, who shot me? And I'm with the majority of the community about Fallout New Vegas being the better of the 3, like, open world 3D games, but it's starting to get to the point where people are really, you know, starting to talk shit a lot about Fallout 3. I've seen a lot of people on Facebook and Twitter and shit like that hating on Fallout 3 without realizing the game's, you gotta remember, the game's almost 10 years old at this point. Not to the date, obviously. It'd be like October 23rd or something like that. 2018 would be 10 years. But it's almost a decade old. You gotta remember that it's Bethesda's first time with the game. They transitioned it from a top-down isometric game to a full 3D open-world game. Like, you gotta remember all these factors. It's not gonna be a perfect game. And people will make the argument about Obsidian having the short time to make New Vegas versus how long they had to make Fallout 3. And you're right. I've said that before on my channel as well. But you also got to remember that they went into Fallout New Vegas with, you know, the everything that's been created for Fallout 3. Because if you look at like the character models, they're very similar. They even have some of the same voice actors, if I'm not mistaken. So it's really they took things from Fallout 3 and just added new stuff to it. What I mean by that exactly is, like, they didn't necessarily build it from the ground up. Obviously, the world is probably new. It's nothing like Fallout 3's world. But, like, they have, you know, similar character models, buildings, weapons, things like that were in Fallout 3, and they just added more variants to guns, more variants to enemies, shit like that. And I'm not even looking at this through, like, nostalgia goggles or nothing. Like, of course there's some nostalgia for Fallout 3. It was the first one for a lot of us. It's what got me into the series and everything. But I'm not even looking at it like that. It's not even a biased thing. It's just like, if Fallout 3 didn't exist at all, we wouldn't even have New Vegas. And we would have Fallout 4, but some people might be happy if we didn't have Fallout 4. But New Vegas would not exist if not for Bethesda's Fallout 3. It's just a simple fact. So for that alone, you should respect at least what Fallout 3 is. The New Vegas community is getting so toxic to the point that on my personal Facebook, I've seen somebody, there's this person on there that talks a lot about just Fallout New Vegas all the time. And they just constantly talk shit on Bethesda and Todd Howard and Fallout 3. And I can't remember what the post was exactly, and I'm just kind of, this isn't verbatim, but this along the lines of them saying they did not like Fallout 3, they played it for about 30 minutes and could not stand it and quit playing it. And all I can think of is, like, you're talking about a Fallout game, and all you could put into it was 30 minutes, and you basing your entire judgment of the game off of 30 minutes. 30 minutes doesn't even get you out of fucking Vault 101. You don't even leave the beginning of the game in 30 minutes. So how the fuck can you tell me that you have an actual opinion on the game? You have not even given the game a goddamn chance. You haven't even been out of the fucking vault to explore the wasteland and even know what the fucking story is and play it yourself. Like, it's the dumbest fucking concept, but that's kind of how toxic the Fallout New Vegas community is getting, that people don't even fucking play the other Fallout games. They just say that New Vegas is the best. And I'm not just making this video based off this one person or because of this one person. As with most of my rants on the channel, it's something that I've been wanting to talk about for kind of a while, and then there's that one, like, person or thing that just kind of just pushes me over the edge and pisses me off, and I gotta fucking rant about it. And this person was it. And something else I didn't really like about New Vegas, and this isn't even nostalgia or bias or anything like that, I'm not a big fan of the DLCs in all honesty. I love Big Mountain and I love Lonesome Road. But I wasn't a big fan of the Honest Hearts DLC. It wasn't necessarily bad. I love the environment of it. And I love that the map, it had rain on it. It was kind of nice to see weather in Fallout for the first time. But I absolutely fucking despise the Dead Money Sierra Madre DLC. That is my least favorite Fallout DLC of all time, dude. And whereas with Fallout 3, I like them all. You know, I like Operation Anchorage. I like the Pit. I like Point Lookout, and I like Mothership Zeta. So, like, I just wasn't really a big fan of all the DLC for Fallout New Vegas. Like, Sierra Madre, to be honest, dude, I don't know what it is about it, and I know a lot of other people hate it too. I know a few people that kind of liked it or didn't hate it at all. But I got into it about a quarter of the way or half of the way through the DLC, and I was just like, God damn, I just want this to fucking end so I can play Lonesome Road. Because I think I played them in order, if I'm not mistaken. All I know is I saved Lonesome Road for the last. That's what I know. And I just wanted this fucking DLC to end, and I legitimately did not enjoy playing it. And I mentioned this before on the channel, but it's actually kind of been a while. I think that Fallout 3 is the better Fallout game, because it feels like a Fallout game. The world feels like Fallout. And I think that Fallout New Vegas is just a better game, because it's a better RPG experience. With the variants in weapons and mods for the weapons and the way you can level up and the perks and the factions and all that shit. I think it's a better game, but I think Fallout 3 was the better Fallout game. Because in all honesty, when you walk around the Fallout New Vegas map, like, it doesn't really feel post-apocalyptic, because you're not really in a city, you're in a fucking desert area. Of course, there's some destroyed buildings and towns and things like that, but it doesn't really feel like you're in a post-apocalyptic scenario. It just feels like a bunch of destroyed places. And to me personally, the DC Ruins area of Fallout 3 is better than, like, any location in Fallout New Vegas. I love the in and out of the subway tunnels, being able to walk down the streets and look at all the destroyed fucking skyscrapers and tall buildings, and you can go in some of them you can't, obviously. To me, that location of Fallout 3, and Rivet City too. Rivet City is one of my favorite locations in all of Fallout. And look, I'm not trying to shit on Fallout New Vegas. Again, it is my favorite of the series so far in terms of just overall how the game is. But I just want to point out some of the flaws with Fallout New Vegas, at least that I see in it. Because I'm sick of, like, seeing people that shit all over Fallout 3. Like, Fallout 3 is OG. Like, that's the one you have to like that one, or you can't like these other ones. Because if not for Fallout 3, these other ones would not goddamn exist. And none of the Fallout games are perfect. Fallout 3 has its fucking faults, so does New Vegas, and so does 4. None of them are perfect, but I just want to point out some of the reasons why I think that Fallout 3 is still a great game. It holds up to this day, I think. Now, if it came out today, if Fallout 3 was a brand new game and it came out today, yeah, I probably wouldn't think it's as good as I do think it is, but again, it's a fucking old-ass game, and for people to wait almost 10 years later to really start shitting on Fallout 3 seems a bit ridiculous to me. Like, of course a game that's that old is gonna have its fucking faults and problems. So let me know in the comments below if you've dealt with this toxic side of the Fallout community, the Fallout New Vegas, like, Master Race community. It's legit like the PC Master Race thing, where it's like, you know, people on consoles are just below you. And it's kind of how it is now with Fallout New Vegas. Like, you can't talk about 3 or 4, because Fallout New Vegas is Master Race. It's the best one, hands down. Don't get me wrong, guys, I still love Fallout New Vegas, but just part of this fucking community is starting to turn me on the game, and I don't like that. I don't like that people have that kind of influence over me. But they're starting to make me, like, not like the game as much as I used to, and I fucking hate it. Anyways, if you want to enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, turn on notifications, follow me on Twitter, links to my social networks are in the description. And in the outro, later, guys.
Till it comes to conclusions, all the things that we thought we were losing. I'm a ghost and you know this. That's why we broke up in the first place. 'Cause I want you to know